Hello, and welcome back to IV Equestria War. Equestria, under Princess Celestia. And in today's episode, it's time to begin everything here. We're gonna start our story in the far southeast. In Tenochtitlan, the city of the sun, deep in the steamy jungles of the Tenochtitlan basin, lies the largely ruined city, which gives the region its name. In fact, when explorers from northern Equestria first discovered it, they called it a lost city, even though it has been continuously inhabited for a millennium. To this day, the ponies of the Nigua tribe live in the city like their ancestors did. Surrounding Tenochtitlan is a vast network of canals gaining their water from the river, which flows past the city. On these canals, as well as the river itself, one may find the famed floating gardens, or what remains of them, at least. The natives still use them to grow plants such as maize, beans, and flowers, though many of them are overgrown. In the center of the city itself stands the imposing Pyramid of the Sun, the primary religious site of the Nigua. Although it has seen far less use under Celestia's rule, and no sacrifices whatsoever, locals still use it to affirm their loyalty to the princess. In return, she provides modern medicine, fertilizer, machine tools, and more. Albeit the natives are left alone to live their peaceful lives in the traditional manner, in huts of stone, mud, and wood. What a peaceful little tribe. Now we move over to the city of Moon. There's a charm in the city of Aenkachili that begets wonders thoughts to any pony. Here's a city that was ancient before Equestria had ever been formed, located in the southern jungles, in the mountains of the borders of Badland. Aenkachili has the dubious honor of being the oldest Thestral city in the world. Legends hold it that it was constructed by a Thestral moonspeaker with the aid of an Ursa Major. Historians, however, place its origin to many millennia ago, to the times when the Thestral tribes and the Nigua came into conflict and need for a safe haven was born. Whatever it may have been, Thestrals have been living in the city for so long that only bare estimates can be given with the current historical records. Speaking of bare, if you're wondering what the Ursa Major is, or the Ursa Minor, which is basically the kid of the Ursa Major, it's basically a space-looking bear that's humongous. Quite an unusual aspect from Aenkachili is the fact that it is located inside the mountain range, inside a cast cavern dug over time by its citizens. Even as times have advanced, the majority of the city is still located safely there, with just part of the more modern city located outside, where along with them plenty of terraces for farming are located to feed the mountain city. But it is not just food that they are known for the mountain contains many riches such as copper, silver, and gold. Historians have traced many ancient trade routes leading there from the north, carrying goods such as iron weapons and armor in exchange for the mined minerals. Evidence shows that they served as a vital link for trade between the jungles on the north, through which luxury goods such as sugar and cocoa from jungle tribes passed by. Once the princesses proceeded with the formation of Equestria, they found itself in a favorable position, at least until the incident with Nightmare Moon occurred. Now shunned, the Thestrals returned to living amongst themselves, in fear of reprisals and revenge for siding the horrid monster that had once been their beloved princess. This eventually hurt them, and the city endured for centuries as but a hollow shell of once mighty realm. Today they stand as a testimony for vigority of Thestral kind, as a near total majority of its citizens are made up of Thestrals. Even the ponies there are usually tribals from the jungle. who have interacted with the Thestrals far longer than any Northerner has, and even tend to share a common tongue with. Modernization is present in the city, but mixed in to tradition and the peculiar aspects of Thestrals. They have no real streets, as near every citizen can fly. This has led to the city developing not horizontally, as a traditional city, but primarily vertically. Tall towers, reaching from the cavern ceiling to the floor, dot the vast caves, with the odd bridge crossing the gaps between them. Even with the modern electricity, most of them cast in but dim light, to better suit the sensitive eyes of Thestrals. Further caverns extend out from the main one, which lead to the many mining tunnels. Even to this day, they are mostly dependent upon its ore exports to many equestrian industries north. One could perhaps find irony, in how some things never change. Central part of the city, and an aspect that cannot be missed, is the Temple of Moon. Located at the city's center, it remains a staunchly visited complex by the Thestrals. It is the place where every Moonspeaker comes to learn the traditional ways and read the ancient texts stored within there, some said to more than millennia old, but no outsiders are permitted to see them, not even a certain princess of books. But what a visitor can see is already extraordinary, and a sight to rival even that of Canterlot. For right past its entrance, visitors are met with a giant dome covering the main hall. On this dome, there's a vividly detailed star map, one born from countless generations of work from the Moonspeakers. Every possible inch of the carved stone accurately details the wonders of the night sky, to the point that astronomers from Princess Luna's Academy of Stars have praised the meticulous work the priests have done, even rivaling the accomplishments historical astronomers such as Galloping Galley and Leap Ordnance. Oh my goodness. There have been calls to preserve the temple complex for sake of history. But for Thestrals, however, the temple still serves its original purpose, as it did since its inception, to venerate the moon, as their forebears did before them, a work that continues on and will do for more millennia to come. So basically, the more sane ones ended up there, and the more crazy ones ended up there. The Charm City. Baltimore is the largest settlement in the equestrian southeast. Located in the Horseshoe Bay, originally a small fishing settlement, it industrialized and grew rapidly, mostly thanks to its natural harbor. It became a center of shipping and manufacturing with thriving docks. However, the workers have been treated worse than in many other equestrian cities, especially during the reign of the last mayor. Because of this, Baltimore became the center of equestrian labor movement, housing the headquarters of Cantor Anarcho-Syndicalist Federation of Trade Unions and Anarchists. A large protest had been held in the city during the Winter Revolution in Stalingrad, and the mayor of the city had been sacked by Celestia herself. Due to being located in the southeast, the city also houses a considerable minority of Thestrals, whose conditions are even worse than that of the workers, but who are not allowed to join unions. Many Colchians from Hayseed Swamp inhabit the city as well, speaking their strange Creole of Equestrian and Aquilian. And now we move from the southeast, remaining in the south, to the center, moving towards the southwest, to Huffington, the pride of the South. Like many other settlements in Equestrian South, Huffington was founded as a small fort by pony settlers coming from the north. The fort was built on River Island that was easy to defend from buffalo raiders or monsters. This huff-shaped island gave the settlement its name as it grew around that fort. Despite its location, it was nevertheless destroyed by fearsome buffalo raid that used canoes to cross the river. A pony who led the defense and perished, Flanchard, became the mythical founding hero of Huffington. After making peace with the natives, the determined settlers rebuilt Huffington from the ground up as a modern planned city. Mining operations in the eastern McIntosh Mountains and increased trade with buffalo resulted in rapid growth of the town. Soon enough, many began pouring in from Counterlot, and Celestia Dam was built, creating the Huffington Reservoir. Investments into education also allowed the opening of many research facilities and schools. With the expanded knowledge base, a source of energy, and a steady supply of raw materials, industrial facilities soon opened, and with them came a flood of workers from the north. Within years, Huffington rivaled Dodge City in size, despite being much younger. Prospectors dug many tunnels around and beneath the city in search of Oreos. While they didn't find any, there are plans to use the tunnels for metro stations, as the rapidly growing city could benefit from new methods of transportation. What the miners did find was a large ancient meteorite that had magical properties. It had been studied for many years now, and researchers hoped that it could one day be used as a source of energy. In the meantime, a second hydroelectric dam was recently built, and it was named the Luna Dam to honor the reformed princes of the night. While the spirit of Mild West is almost non-existent in Huffington, it has nevertheless established itself as one of the greatest cities of the equestrian South. Yeehaw! It is a testament to the diligence of pony kind and a shining example of what ponies can accomplish in mere decades by working together. Celestia bless. And then we move on to Dodge City. Yeah, because we all dodge out of the way of there. We don't want to be there. That place sucks. Okay, moving on. The old frontier. When Equestrians first began to settle in the sparsely populated lands of the Buffalo in the 900s, they established Fort Dodge to guard a vital trail to the Wild West. What, Mild West? Ha 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 ha. Oh, that's the stupidest one yet. Oh, I love it. Soon a frontier settlement sprung up, nearly as accommodations for travelers and adventurers were built. By the time a railway connected the settlement to the rest of Equestria, it had already grown into a prospering town known as Dodge City. Thanks to the new railway junction, it soon also became known as Dodge Junction. Both names are used to refer to the place, although Dodge City is the more common one. An influx of settlers made the town grow at an exponential rate. Soon enough, businesses bloomed there. Countless saloons, radio arenas, and parks were built, which attracted even more visitors and migrants. The unique culture of the Mild West is still the strongest here, and many ponies come visit just to experience it first hoof. Yet the primary economic activity is not tourism, but agriculture. Dodge City's most well-known exports are yellow and red cherries grown in the sprawling Cherry Hill Ranch, owned and managed by Cherry Jubilee. Aha. At the same time, when the cherry trees blossom in spring, it also attracts many even more visitors, strengthening the tourism sector further. While Dodge City is still seen as a place that embodies the Wild West, many original settlers and frontiers ponies have left the city, moving to greener pastures. The small frontier town has become just another bustling city, dominated by business, and some would call it a tourist trap. It is likely that those who left went searching for the true spirit of the Mild West that was lost in Dodge City. Dodge City. I keep thinking called Dodge City as if like a I don't know. It's Dodge. Appaloosa is a young town having been built within a year in 990 at NLB, established by the equestrian settlers and surrounded by apple orchards, which are used to produce the town's primary export. Famed apple pies, and surprisingly many inhabitants of the town are part of the vast apple family. It is governed by Sheriff Silverstar, who maintains law and order. The town has a saloon known as the Salt Block, a clock tower, and a stage for musical performances. It is known for... Sorry about that, folks. I'm back. In 1001 ALB, Appaloosa was at the epicenter of the short but violent conflict known as the Apple War. It erupted after nearby buffalo tribes demanded the ponies to tear down their orchards, for they had been planted in their traditional stomping grounds. The ponies refused to destroy their livelihood, and the buffalo attacked. Compromise was only reached when Chief Thunderhooves was downed by an apple pie, which he found to be delicious. Soon a historic agreement was signed. The ponies got to keep their orchards as long as they gift apple pies to the buffalo. Ever since, peace has prevailed between the two races, but time will tell if it lasts. The mining city of Rockville, surrounded by countless rock farms and nestled along hills. Rockville is a center of mining industry and mining processing. These rocks. Its name derives from the tons of rock regularly brought to the city from farm for refinement. It was an insignificant village before the gemstone rush of 931 ALB, which attracted countless migrants. Rockville is a city of foundries, steel mills, and mines. The landscape around the city is barren, and the air in the settlement itself is difficult to breathe. It is also a prospering town, producing a large amount of gold, coal, sulfur, tin, copper, platinum, gemstones, and more. Its inhabitants are grim-faced, their faces often covered with soot, but hard-working and relentless. Some call it the least friendly place in Equestria, but those outside who have earned the trust of Rockville Pony know they are the most trusty and reliable companies one may have. The element of laughter, Picamini Pie, more commonly known as Pinkie Pie, breaks the stereotype by being one of the cheeriest ponies in the country, despite coming from a hardy family of rock farmers. That is also canon to the show. The name being that, but also that she's from the rock place. I don't know if it's called Rockville in the show, but it's pretty close to that. Equestria's playground, Las Pegasus. Among the sparser areas of southwest Equestria, Las Pegasus stands out. As the largest city in the southwest, it is known as the gambling capital and a entertainment capital of the continent. It's filled with luxurious hotels, casinos, arcades, amusement parks, and restaurants that brought the city much fame. Despite it being a floating cloud city, even earth ponies and unicorns can walk on it thanks to modern magical engineering, with long platforms of metal and concrete functioning as walkable streets. The service-oriented economy is thriving, and though there is a lack of farmland to sustain the city, food has always been imported from elsewhere in Equestria. There's something for everyone here, from newborns and young partiers to elders looking for something new and exciting. Under this shining cloud city, however, is the second half of Las Pegasus. Here, large companies such as Horsico and Rockville Oil dominate their factories, cluttering the cityscape. Gigantic steel foundries churn out endless tons of stainless steel, which is used by huge shipyards in the construction of new luxury cruise ships and military vessels. Surrounding this industrial heart are the apartments of the common workers, who toil in the service of large companies. It is fertile ground for leftist movements, some more radical than others, and the ponies of the clown city above demand the police to ensure that Stalingradian influence does not spread. So far, they have only been moderately successful, but as long as Equestria remains stable, the proletariat are unlikely to cause trouble. And that leads us to the end of the south of Equestria, and that leads us far to the northeast, in our island of Trottingham, the Queen of the North. Trottingham, located on a small peninsula in the Griffish Isles, is one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in Equestria. When the three tribes first migrated south, some of the seafaring ponies decided to settle on the uninhabited islands east of the lands, which later became known as Zebrica. It is not known when exactly the city was founded, but the earliest records come from before Luna's banishment. This settlement quickly became an important center of trade when overseas routes to Griffonia were established, which gave the island their name. This importance further increased when Celestia became the ruler of Zebrica in 592 ALB. integrating the neighboring region into Equestria. Trottingham's harbor was greatly expanded, and thousands of migrants arrived from both Serena and Griffonia, diversifying the population. During the Industrial Revolution, textile manufacturers were founded. Lace became one of the primary exports, and the town grew into a true city. The inhabitants of the Griffish Isles still speak a dialect that derives from Old Ponish, which is one of the more distinct accents of Equestria. This means that ponies coming from the Griffish Isles can easily be recognized for their archaic way of speaking. The age of the venerable city can also be seen as architecture, with its buildings having various styles from the different periods and cultures. The most famous sites are the historic Lace Market, the Council House, the Great Harbor, the remains of the city's stone walls, and the nearby Trottingham Castle. Many who visit the historical center of the city say that it almost feels like traveling back in time. However, this illusion fades away the further away you go, as the outskirts of the city are more recently constructed and far more modern. More recently, the Trottingham's history has taken a darker turn, with the Winter Revolution in Severina. One of the most important trade partners was lost, causing an economic downturn and making the city more reliant on aid from Canterlot. This in turn has led to unrest among the workers, partially thanks to communist agitation. In addition, the breakup of the Griffonian Empire caused an influx of Griffin migrants and refugees, which have caused increased racial tensions. The city's future is now uncertain, but no pony doubts that the ancient city will continue to stand the test of time. And going down the coast to Manhattan, the city that never sleeps. Throughout its illustrious history, Manhattan has been given many titles: the City of Dreams, the Big Apple, the Caput Mundi, the capital of the world. Situated where the Hayston River meets the Celestial Sea, 3 boroughs, Manhattan and its satellite Hayston and Brooklyn, make up the sprawling megalopolis of East Coast Equestria. Being Equestria's largest and most populous city, Manhattan is also the most diverse. As the premier seaport of the continent, centuries of continuous foreign immigration has meant that alongside the ponies of the 3 tribes, there exist substantial communities of thrustrels, hippogriffs, zebras, kieran, and griffins within the metropolis. Canterlot may be the seat of the diarchy, but is the melting pot of Manhattanite society that truly embodies the equestrian spirit, that of harmony's coexistence, strength and diversity, and friendship free of prejudice. The glamour of Manhattan nightlife and entertainment industry, and its unassailable status as an international locus of arts and culture, all belay the true roots of the city's wealth. Its massive industrial base, located on the outskirts of the suburb, if one should gaze to the west from the crown of the mayor statue, over and beyond the elegant arches of the Brooklyn Bridge, they would glimpse the smokestacks and cranes that juxtapose the parallel skyline, one that is gritty and grimy, yet no less grand, against the opulence of the skyscrapers downtown. The Celestial Sea Fleet, the backbone of the Equestrian Royal Navy, has its moorings in the deep water and sheltered bays of the Manhattan harbor, where prodigious amounts of capital flow through the wharfs and dockyards of Bronklyn. From Griffonia, Zebrica, and beyond, the iron hoof of maritime law ensures the waters around the metropolis are kept safe from threats both monstrous and mundane. Like all big cities, Manhattan has its fair share of problems. Only a few blocks away from the glitzy shopping avenues of Brittleway are run-down waterfront neighborhoods teeming with the city's immigrant proletariat. In the shadow of Manhattan skyscrapers lie the inner-city slums, the ghettos, the proverbial undergrowth of the concrete jungle. Should the centuries-long peace in Equestria collapse, there's no doubt that a strife and scarcity will come to Manhattan. In the face of rationing, curfews, and blackouts, it's all too easy to forget about solidarity and friendship. Now in the new millennium, the city is threatened from within and without. Across the sea, Graphonia is poised for a decade of brutal conflict, while Manhattan's own lunars grow more belligerent by the day, as the horrors of mechanized warfare encroach on Pony's nightmares. In the years to come, what fate will befall this great city? And then we have Philadelphia, one of the largest cities on the Equestrian's east coast, only rivaled by Manhattan. Philadelphia has long been regarded as a center of industry and learning, and one of the cradles of the Industrial Revolution in Equestria. It was once known as the workshop of the world, producing goods for export across the planet, and it is famed for its medical school located beneath the Pegasus district of Belsair, commonly known as Little Cloudsdale. Other notable features of the city are its all-unicorn police force and Dragon Town, a district inhabited exclusively by dragons. Is this a reference to Chinatown? Amazing. As well as the yearly Grapefruit Festival. In recent times, the city was struggling with severe parasprite infestation, which took years to clear out. The city has a long and rich history, being founded before Luna's banishment over 1,000 years ago, when the princesses were still young. Indeed, the nickname of the city refers to the mutual love the sisters had for each other, which unfortunately meant that after the lunar banishment, Celestia did everything she could to avoid the city. Despite Canterlot's neglect, Philadelphia thrived nevertheless. After Luna's return and reformation, a grand celebration was held in the city in honor of the princesses' reconciliation, and the ponies of the city happily welcomed Celestia, who could once more visit without issue. But I think that'll be the end for this video. In the next video, we'll explore the rest of the cities, moving from the east and south to the west and north. But if you enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button. And as always, peace.